board development was definitely one of the areas that we had targeted as our three. The three that we chose were a marketing, we had a two-pronged marketing area. We wanted to create a short-term marketing plan to really push hard on our events and education things that were coming up this fall. But then we also wanted to take the time to step back and do a really long-term institutional marketing program, for which we wanted to convene a task force that would include some board members as well as some community volunteers. So that was one area. Evaluation was another really important area for us that we just realized that if we're going to make really good choices about what we're doing and where we're going, we need to have data. We have to know what's really happening in the organization, be able to really rely on what we have. And again, it's a kind of stepping back and reflective process. And that, I would have to say, is one of the things that was most important for us for Springboard, was just having the help to take that step backwards and get a larger overview of what's going on in the organization so that we could be very deliberate about where we're putting our time and energy. And then the third area that we focused on was board development. So since we began our work in the Springboard program, we've added 3 new board members, which was great. And we had identified some areas that we needed assistance with, PR being one of them. And we added someone from Amazon in PR, and we added someone with really great HR experience, because that was another area that we had identified that we really needed some professional knowledge. So we're up 3 board members, but we're still continuing to really work on that because we have board members who are going to rotate off at the end of the year. It's a never-ending process, but we feel like we have now a much better process for recruiting, orienting. We've set up a system where we just did a checklist of orientation, both what the staff needs to provide to new board members, but also what board members need to be orienting. So people on the governance committee need to be orienting new board members to things that they should know about the organization. And we also finished the board handbook that had long been languishing. So a lot of these processes really are having the effect of changing our capacity. And I'd say that the planning piece, the ability to really do a very structured plan that then serves as a guide. It's frustrating when you set out a plan, and of course you have the dates and the names change because personnel change, and then of course when you miss those dates it's frustrating, but it sort of doesn't matter. You know what your next step is. It may not be happening exactly when you thought it would be happening. We were supposed to have had our first marketing task force meeting by today, but it has not happened yet. We have had our evaluation task force, the initial planning meeting, and then the meeting with one of our advisors on how we're looking at evaluation, who told us apparently that we're pretty far, what was it, 10 years behind? And 20 years behind. Some of the systems we're using, so we have work to do, but at least we're looking at it and moving in that direction. I'd say that overall it's just been a really great, and a case for support. This was another, we really loved the presentation that we all heard on building a case for support, and the distinction between a case for support and a case statement that you would use if you were doing a capital campaign or a very specific fundraising project. So we wrote a case for support, and it is 14 pages, and it's very detailed. And I have it here somewhere. Oops! And if anyone wants to look at it, I do have a copy that I would be happy to share with people. But it was great, and we just followed the model that we had been given, and it's been really helpful in helping us focus on articulating who we are, what we do, what our challenges are, where we need to go. And we came up with some verbiage that's just really turning out to be very helpful in using it for brochures. We're writing grants, and we feel like suddenly we have an identity that I think the board is more on board with. There's a shared vision of who we are and what we're doing. So we are very grateful to Janet and Monique, who are our consultants, and they were a terrific pair because they seem to have very complementary skills. But the sessions where we were working with them, it just felt like they were modeling this kind of very deliberate planning behavior where you're thinking through the steps so that you're not just, okay, what needs to be done next, and blindly plunging into the next step, but really trying to figure out the course that you need to go through over the course of over a year. And that takes some real deliberation. You were both absolute masters at showing us how to put together a plan.